The arena was supposed to erupt the moment Caitlin Clark squared off against Paige Bueckers. That's what everyone had planned for. That's what the 20,049 fans had paid to see. The WNBA had quietly circled this date on the calendar, the same way a studio circles an opening weekend for a blockbuster. It was meant to be the crown jewel of the regular season, Clark vs. Bueckers, 2024's #1 pick against 2025's top talent, two college rivals finally clashing on the sport's biggest stage. But the story changed, and what replaced it was something no one expected. Something far more powerful. 2 nights before tip-off, the script flipped. Caitlin Clark aggravated a groin injury. And just like that, the most anticipated matchup of the season teetered on the edge of collapse. You could feel the tremor ripple through social media, through fan pages, through the hearts of those who had booked flights and hotels just for this showdown. No Clark. Then what was left? As it turned out, everything. The Indiana Fever had just been demolished by the Los Angeles Sparks the night before. It wasn't just a loss. It was a meltdown. They looked rudderless without Clark. The offense sputtered. The defense fell apart. Aliyah Boston barely saw the ball. It was the kind of loss that exposed how reliant the team had become on one superstar to keep the engine running. So when the Fever entered Dallas without her, it felt like walking into a lion's den with a blindfold on. The Dallas Wings smelled blood. They knew the Fever were coming in tired, demoralized, wounded. And with Bueckers surging in her rookie season, the Wings were ready to make a statement. They had moved the game to the American Airlines Center, home of the Dallas Mavericks, a 20,000-seat arena built for moments like this. That kind of move doesn't happen unless you expect something historic. And yet, with Clark ruled out, the tickets were already sold. The seats were already filled. The crowd still came. But what they witnessed was not the spectacle they expected. It was something deeper. Something special. Something that changed the trajectory of the Indiana Fever and maybe the entire WNBA season. Coach Stephanie White stunned everyone by inserting Ari McDonald into the starting lineup, a shakeup nobody predicted. It was a tactical move, but it felt like a message. This wasn't going to be the same Fever team that got blown out by LA. This team was going to fight. And fight they did. From the opening tip, the Fever exploded. They came out with an intensity that shook the arena. 7 straight shots to open the game. 7. In a league where slow starts often dictate the narrative, Indiana made sure that from the jump, the story would be different. Ari McDonald was electric, slicing through defenders, setting up plays, making people forget, if only for a moment, that Caitlin Clark was even missing. Her energy was contagious. Her vision sharp. She wasn't just filling a spot, she was rewriting the playbook. And right beside her, Aliyah Boston came alive. She wasn't just playing in the post. She was owning it. Every time the Wings had to collapse on McDonald, Boston found herself with daylight. And she capitalized. Layups. Mid-range shots. Rebounds. Her confidence grew with every touch. This was the version of Boston that dominated at South Carolina, that reminded everyone she's still one of the most skilled bigs in the game when given room to operate. Kelsey Mitchell, too, found her rhythm. 10 points in the first quarter, done quietly, efficiently, within the flow of an offense that looked freer than it had in weeks. The movement was crisp. The passing was patient. And the defense, relentless. The Fever ended the first quarter up 33-13, silencing a crowd that had expected them to collapse. But basketball doesn't give fairy tales away that easily. You have to fight for them. Dallas clawed back. They had too much pride not to. They had Paige Bueckers, and she wasn't about to let her breakout game be buried by someone else's Cinderella story. She erupted for 27 points. But it wasn't just the scoring. It was the control, the pace, the brilliance. She became the first WNBA player in history to post a stat line with 25 points, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and 0 turnovers. 0. That kind of perfection doesn't happen by accident. It was a performance that would have dominated headlines, if only the Fever hadn't refused to fold. As the lead shrank to single digits, the ghosts from the Sparks game began to creep in. This was usually where Indiana unraveled, where panic replaced poise, where the offense went one-dimensional and the defense lost its edge. But something was different this time. Mitchell didn't let go. She scored 32 points on the night, including a series of clutch buckets down the stretch that ripped the heart out of the Wings' comeback attempt. It wasn't just scoring, it was leadership. It was control. It was a masterclass in how to lead a team when the spotlight isn't on you. Boston played her part, too. With the game in the balance, she made the plays that don't always show up on stat sheets. A tip-out rebound to extend a possession. A key defensive stop in the post. She finished with 21 points on 9 of 14 shooting. 3 for 3 at the line. She was a wall on one end and a scalpel on the other. And McDonald, who hadn't started a game all season, set the tone that made all of it possible. She was perfect in the first quarter. Not just in shooting percentage, but in decision-making. She attacked when she needed to. She distributed when it was the better choice. She created the space and momentum that allowed Boston and Mitchell to shine. It was a game that revealed something about the Fever that no previous win had. That they could stand up without Clark. That they could find new leaders. That they weren't just a one-player story. And when it was over, when the final buzzer sounded and the scoreboard read 94-86, Aliyah Boston walked to the microphone. A reporter asked her about the crowd, about the atmosphere, about how it felt to win this kind of game without their franchise star. She didn't hesitate. "Every game is a home game," she said. 6 words. But they captured everything. That wasn't just a slogan, it was a mindset. A declaration that the Fever's identity isn't just tied to Caitlin Clark. It's tied to their fans, to their resilience, to a belief system that travels with them, arena to arena, like a second heartbeat. The Fever had thousands of fans in that building. You could hear them every time Indiana hit a shot. You could see their jerseys spread out across the crowd. The noise they brought was more than support, it was fuel. Mitchell echoed that sentiment in her post-game interview. She talked about urgency, about how it had become the team's theme, how they were learning to respond when momentum shifted, how they were discovering how to hold leads, not just build them. She spoke about confidence, how it builds when fans show up for you, when you see familiar colors in unfamiliar places. It creates a loop. Fans bring energy, players feed off it, the performance lifts, the fans cheer louder. And it starts all over again. What the Fever proved that night in Dallas wasn't that they could win a game without Clark. It was that they had built something bigger than just a star-driven team. They had built a culture, a belief, a system that could survive setbacks, a locker room where anyone could step up and lead. They pushed their record to 8-8, moving into 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. With the Commissioner's Cup Championship against the Lynx on the horizon and a 5-game homestand waiting back in Indy, the Fever have momentum at their backs, and something even more powerful in their hearts. When Caitlin Clark returns, she's coming back to a team that has grown in her absence. A team that learned how to survive without her, and is now more dangerous because of it. The chemistry has changed. The belief has deepened. The ceiling, higher than ever. So to the fans who showed up expecting a one-on-one showdown and stayed to witness a team transform before their eyes, this is your team too. This is what happens when belief runs deeper than hype. When you build something that no injury, no bad game, no headline can shake. If you support the Fever, drop a comment below and write, "I've got the Fever." Like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because this isn't just a team. It's a movement. And it's only getting started.